On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we recap OU's beatdown of Tulsa. We also recap the other great games of Week 3 in college football, and we give you our winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Sunday, September 17th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options in the month of September, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the best. Now we're recording this Sunday afternoon. Please leave us a 5-star review with a nice comment. Ted, the Oklahoma Sooners are 3-0.
That's right. 3-0. I don't know how people felt after the SMU game. I think there was a mixed bag. You got to feel pretty good after yesterday's performance, I think.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And before we dive into the recap of the game, great job, Sooner Nation. I kind of felt bad for the Tulsa players, right? Their stadium just got taken over by OU fans, and we know how many OU fans are in Tulsa, right? But to see it, and that was the first time I've ever been there. That's the first time I've ever been to that stadium. It was kind of strange. I couldn't believe that, but it was impressive, right? What do you think the ratio was? 80-20?
Yeah, had to be 80-20, 75-25, maybe. But credit Tulsa. Awesome tailgate setup.
Oh, yeah. We walked around. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good. Shout out to Alpha Grill for maybe the best loaded baked potato I've ever had.
That was such a bold choice for you, man, to house that right before the broadcast. That was unlike you.
It was a lot of food, but hey, it was awesome. It was that was a cool setup. I really enjoyed that. That was a fun atmosphere, and all in all, a really good trip to T-Town.
Yeah, so great job, Sooner Nation. Way to bring the energy for that football game. All right. 5 turnovers? Is
that right? Yeah, 5 interceptions.
5 interceptions?
First time since 2003.
Pretty good.
Yep.
So we're going to start with the defense. Let's get right to it, man. What'd you think of OU's defensive performance?
I thought it was good. All in all, really good. This time I actually did tally the different passing stuff because, you know, I've been saying that teams aren't getting 5 out on us, and it's really limiting what they're able to do in the passing game. We had 4 drop back passes where they got 5 wides out. Now, they were running that, like, you know, the 6-18, the quick, you know, I was counting that as 3-step because it's just a 1 read and bang. It's hard to get pressure on that. Bunch of Max Pro, bunch of boot, bunch of sprint, bunch of 3-step, couple 6-man protections. So only 4 5-man protections against our 4-man rush. So I that continues to be a big weapon for our defense. Some guys that I thought played well. Stutzman obviously had another huge game. The pick 6 was awesome. Maybe the best play of the day for him was the attempted personal foul flop later in the game. That was funny.
Wildly entertaining. And a nice display of athleticism on, like, the backhand sprint. I don't even know what you call what he did, but dude, that was so funny.
He almost kicked the referee on his way up. But that was cool. He played another really, really good game. I thought Gentry Williams played a really good game, had a couple of really nice tackles. Obviously, the interception was great. I thought Trace Ford was really good at times. I thought Isaiah Coe had a pretty good game. really, Dejon Terry, interior D line, I thought was pretty good. Better pad level on the double teams. Some of their twists and games are starting to look really good. Some of them in the running game, there's some twists that they run, and in the passing game as well. I thought Luulu played another really solid game. He's starting to develop, a really good feel for the interior pass rush. He's kind of getting this late spin move whenever he gets to an edge, and then the O lineman really starts to commit and maybe gets a little too square on him, and he spins out. He's starting to have some success with that. I thought PJ looked pretty good at times, doing some really good things. He had to drop a couple times and looked good. So all in all, I thought generally pretty good stuff from the defense.
Now they did find some success, right? In a couple of drives. You think what, second quarter, and then was that the first drive out of the half where they found a little success? What
Is that right? Yeah.
is that right? So. I think that's right. But what was going on, right? Because that's when OU Twitter is starting to erupt. Like, what's going on? What's the problem here? What kind of stood out to you when they did find success in those drives?
There were very few plays that really there was a problem. There was one of them, a couple of toss plays that they ran early that had us gashed a little bit. On one of them, I think Stutzman and Kanik were lined up wrong, and that hurt us in that the very first toss. That one got out the gate a little bit. There was another one where Stutzman had a missed tackle, but it was weird how that play developed. He ended up being one-on-one in a huge amount of space. That was going to be a tough play. They did get 5 out on us once, and the quarterback broke contain. But here's one of the problems with that, and this happened a couple of times in the game. Incredibly late getting lined up. On one of them, the entire defensive line is still standing up. So they're late to get to the rush, go down the middle of guys, quarterback's able to escape out. One of them was just a flat out bust. Makari Vickers thought he was a rolled up corner playing the flat and not playing quarters. And he thought he had someone over the top and he didn't. So we just let a guy run straight up for a touchdown. A couple of times we had we have this 4-man rush where we drop the edge player. One of the defensive ends drops and plays the flat, and a backer blitzes, right? So it's a 4-man rush, but it can be difficult for the offensive line because you don't know necessarily who the 4 are going to be, and you can find some mismatches there. Defensive end can drop out, and you have a tackle over there and perhaps a guard that are blocking nobody, and you're rushing 4 on the other side. The problem with that is multiple times when we ran that package and the defensive end drops out, we totally lose contain on the quarterback. Like, if you're dropping a defensive end out and you're running a 4-man rush, there has to be some type of contain at some point looping back from the other side. And I don't know if that's a design flaw. I can't imagine that it is, or that we are getting too gummed up in there on some of the stunt stuff. So quarterback would get out of contain and then hit us down the field on some plays. The one touchdown I thought I talked about the Vickers one. The other one was just a really lazy adjustment from our safeties. Reggie Pearson's super late getting over there. He's too jogging. There's no sense of urgency in the late adjustment to get over there and get matched up. He gets out of position. Then he's in a panic and he's trying to drive and break late, and it's an out and up, and he gets totally exposed. So, got to be a little quicker to adjust there. We're back to one of my biggest pet peeves that we saw last year and have been
can I
better.
Guess?
Go ahead and guess it.
Pass rushers rushing past the level of the quarterback.
Stop rushing past the quarterback. You cannot do it. It is, you are eliminating yourself from the play and you're exposing the entire defense. It's like, you're going to make mistakes adjusting at times. Offenses are trying to do that to you. You're going to get crossed up in run fits, whenever there's a bunch of guys coming across and they're trying to create some chaos on the gaps. You're going to get beat every now and then in one-on-one plays, right? You're going to miss some tackles out there. Those things are going to happen whenever you're playing defense. This cannot happen. It is a day one pass rush defensive line topic that you have to cover, and you can't, especially, it can never happen, but especially whenever you have an athletic quarterback. You just completely open the gate to he's got the entire field to run around. It's so frustrating. It's lazy as hell. I don't know, you get these big eyes and you think you're going to run some big hoop around this tackle and make a play on an athletic quarterback. It's just not going to happen. We got to eliminate that. But for the most part, those were the busted plays or the mistakes, which, you can't happen. It can't happen on the coverage. You can't be late and you can't have the free runner and not know where you are. And if you don't know, like Vickers, if you're not sure, run with the guy down the field, right? Adam, like, if you want to give up the flat, we'll give up the flat if you're not sure, right? Don't give up the deep part of the field. If all else fails, run deep. But for the most part, no real fatal flaws of like guys getting blown off the football, linebackers being blocked on the second level, defensive backs getting beat. I just didn't think that was the case at all. For the most part, athletically and physically, we dominated. Just a couple of things happened, and I talked to Stutzman after the game about it. For whatever reason, they were getting some calls in late, and I think maybe that's adjusting to personnel or something that Tulsa was doing, and you could see that affect the game a little bit. So, just got to get that stuff cleaned up a little bit. But overall, I thought, for the mistakes, very limited amount and very fixable.
Yeah. So in summation, when it came to them scoring points, Vickers he thought he was on the cloud side. He was on the man side.
Mm-hmm.
Was not the flat player. Was supposed to be a deep third player, or was supposed to be a man player.
Yeah.
Not good, but hey, correctable.
It's correctable, right? But he did make a couple of nice plays.
Yeah.
You could tell he's inexperienced out there, which he is, and this is a good time to get some experience, and it's a good time to have a mental lapse and a breakdown in a game that, you're going to end up winning. Like, those things are going to happen. Guys are going to go out, young guys going to go out and make mistakes. That's football. There's a learning curve here. Rarely do guys show up and right out of the gate they're able to not make any mental mistakes, but all that stuff pretty fixable. Yeah.
The sprint pass touchdown, it's good play. We should steal that play.
The old out and up. Yep.
You don't see that. That's a classic. You see it run down on the goal line. It's one of your fourth down plays. For him to turn it up like that, that's really tough, man. That's really tough. But yeah, the only other question I have for you is the cheetah spot. We're banged up, man. Mm-hmm. Right? It sounds like Harrington's going to be out for a long time, if not the entire season. Right? McCullough, who knows how long the high ankle takes. Like, what'd you think of how that position looked overall?
I thought it looked good overall, but I will admit we didn't get tested a whole lot in it this week. It was a very straightforward. All 11 personnel and 12 personnel. They played a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. That ends up making it really easy on the cheetah spot. Just kind of playing the edge a whole lot, almost like a true sandbacker type of spot. So I thought it was good. I didn't see any any guys getting exposed there. But again, like not a game to where you can say we're either going to be good there or we've got problems there. It's kind of easy game for the cheetah position. Just to mention some guys that I thought played well. Stutzman, Gentry Williams. I think I already mentioned those. Gentry Williams made some really nice plays in the run game. Came up real physical out on the perimeter.
We got to get the Stingers to go away, man.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that shoulder is clearly, it's clearly giving him issues. Like and that was pretty early in the game, had to miss some drives. Then he was back out there. Then he was back out. Like, hopefully they can figure out what's going on there. Cause it's clear guy's a player.
Yeah. He's good.
Just gotta keep that shoulder from, he's got to keep feeling in the shoulder. How about there?
Yeah. That helps. Thought Trace Ford had some really good stuff. He's active, man. He's really athletic. He moves around really well. He had some really good drops. You know, I mentioned the where we're dropping an edge guy out and bringing a backer to create a 4-man rush just from some different angles. He had some really nice drops from that defensive end position. We ran some twist games right there on the edge for some of their inside zone stuff to create some chaos there. And some of that worked really good. I thought Isaiah Coe played a really good game. He and Dejon Terry they're playing lower against the double teams. They split a bunch of double teams. He had a couple of nice rushes, had the big sack, had a tackle for loss right after it. All in all, not a whole lot of complaints, just a couple of things there and again, I think that second quarter was a little bit of taking our foot off the gas for whatever reason, and nothing for me to be too concerned about.
Yeah. And obviously we'll talk about what the offense did as well, but they handled Tulsa the way that they should. That's not a good football team. We probably should have started with that. I mean, that's not a good football team. It's not a talented football team. Now it's a well-coached football team, but yeah, they were bigger, faster, stronger. All you had to do was stand on the field for warm-ups.
Yeah.
I mean, Tulsa they're a long way away from being where they need to be from a personnel standpoint, but you played the team that's on the schedule, man.
That's right.
And they beat the hell out of the team they should beat the hell out of.
That's right. Yeah. Tulsa's they're going to have some headwinds getting the personnel in that they need. You're right. You brought it up whenever we were down there. There was a very noticeable size discrepancy between the two teams.
Their offensive skill guys looked like a high school team.
Yeah.
That's what I said. You're sugarcoating. I was like, oh my gosh, they look like a high school team. That's exactly what I said. It's true.
Yeah,
but
they got to get some size.
Yeah, they got to get some size. We'll see. I'm hoping it works out for Wilson. Anything else defensively with what you saw?
I don't think so.
All right, let's talk about what we saw from OU's offense against Tulsa. But first, Love's Travel Stops is now offering a nationwide 10-cent per gallon discount on gas and auto diesel. Just download the Love's Connect app and you can scan the barcode at the prompt on screen and watch that price drop 10 cents per gallon. Across the country, the Love's Connect app unlocks exclusive deals, can help any traveler plan their route or meal on the highway. So before you hit the road, be sure to download the Love's Connect app to save 10 cents per gallon and experience the country's best highway hospitality at Love's Travel Stops. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones with their expanded mobile to-go zone. And of course, don't forget to grab yourself some of that delicious Java Hamore.
It's hunting time in Oklahoma. And if you're looking to buy some hunting property, the Land Doctors can help you find the ideal ranch. They build custom hunting lodges and lakes and can turn Oklahoma's raw land into your personal playground. If you'd like to sell some land or simply want to add to your portfolio, then call Colton Cole at 405-615-7645 or visit landdoctors.com.
And celebrate with a Schooner All-American Ale, the official craft beer of OU Athletics from Coop Ale Works. named after the iconic Sooner schooner that races across Owen Field after an OU score. You can join in on the celebration with an ice-cold beer from Coop Ale Works. You can enjoy it at the Palace on the Prairie, at OU Athletics events, at the bar, at the tailgate, and in the comfort of your own home. For more information on Schooner All-American Ale, visit SchoonerAle.com. Must be 21 to purchase. Please drink responsibly. Schooner All-American Ale, the taste of game day. All right, OU offense. Loved how aggressive they were in the passing game.
Woo.
Loved
they got
it.
after it, didn't they?
Loved it. Tone setter right off the start, right? Let that thing fly right off the bat. Did they run it as efficiently as I want them to? No. No. Did they move guys off the football like they should against a team like Tulsa? They did not. Should we be concerned? Yes, we should. The double team, the movement, and we'll get to the offensive line. The double teams are not getting movement in the zone schemes. I call them zone schemes. We've been over that. But the movement at the point of attack, when it's two guys blocking one guy, it's just not good enough. We'll get there. Let's start with Dylan Gabriel. 28-31 for 5 touchdowns and an interception. That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work. And the interception, it's max protection. The tackle and tight end, just let the edge player go. It's on the tight end, right? It's in the tight end's gap. Now, Jacob Sexton, could he have stayed there and helped? Yes, of course. Help the tight ends, but don't love the fact that you're asking a tight end to block the edge guy one-on-one, but it's true slide max protection, and your quarterback gets hit and throws an interception as a result of it. Should not happen. That I don't really put much on Gabriel for that, but he was about as aggressive as I've seen him since he's been at OU when it came to pushing the ball down the field.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he made good decisions with the football again. I thought he did a nice job of manipulating the coverage with his eyes at some points, right? Holding that middle safety, kind of keeping him guessing where he was going to go with the football. He's still, and this is super nitpicky, but he's still a beat late on some throws. But, I mean, he continues to play at a really, really high level for this football team. He's making really good decisions with the football. He's taking care of it. I mean, that's a nice day's work for QB1, man. That was pretty dang good.
Yeah, I thought he was great. Thought he was really good. Yeah, we've talked about some of those deep balls, and it's like as soon
there's
as
like 2 a game where you're going, wait, what happened? Like, did the ball fall out of your hand, or it's like 2 or 3 throws a game where you're just like, wait, what was that?
Yep. And I got no complaints. Like, I don't think you're going to see some of those things happen, whether it's, you never know. Like, maybe there's a bad route, or he got something a little bit different in coverage than he expected, and it affects his throw. Maybe there's some indecision there. I don't know, but 28-31 for 5 touchdowns. I thought he was great. I thought he was really accurate. Thought he made some nice runs on the throw. All in all, fantastic game from DG.
Yeah. Jackson Arnold, is it time to retire the QB power?
Well, yeah. Yes, it is. It is.
Has not been overly effective. Now, we saw him line up in receiver. They had a different package for him, right? They eventually got to the reverse pass in that sequence, and it didn't work. But hey, little creativity there from Jeff Levy. You're getting him on the field. But we've talked about this. When the guy just plays quarterback,
pretty good.
Pretty dang good. I mean, what was that, Nick Anderson's 3rd touchdown? That ball was on a line.
Right there. Yep.
I mean, an absolute dime. Just a beautiful throw. Clearly, I mean, everyone could see the arm talent, but yeah, he's extremely involved, right? I guess that's a positive, but continues to be a little strange the way that they're using him.
And I I don't mind it at all. I actually like it. And I really, to me, it doesn't really matter a whole lot how much success they have with it, because I know that defensively, as a staff, you have to try and figure out, well, they've done something with him every game. They're going to do something against us. What might that be? And you have to go back through all of their old film and everywhere Levy's been and everywhere like people that he's coached with have been and what packages they had when they had a second quarterback that was athletic. It's a time vacuum for defensive coaches. So I don't care what they do with him. If they want to run out there and run like a fumble Ruski or double reverse pass, it's a time sucker for the defensive staff you're about to play.
They're chasing ghosts.
That's it.
Right? Well, what are they going to do with him? And yeah, I'm sure it's just so annoying.
Yeah,
it
is
for the other coaching staffs. But hey, he's out on the field. He's getting reps, which is important. But when he just lines up and plays quarterback, looks pretty dang good. The running backs, strange, right? Barnes and Sawchuk. We saw Tawi get 20-plus carries last week. Didn't even touch it. Marcus Major, I think he had one carry, and it actually looked really good. It was the best they've run outside zone all year long, not even close, and Rouse gets called for the hold, and it comes back. Now, the hold, meh, probably a flag you throw, but I'm not going to be mad at him for it. But we did see them get to some of the two-back stuff, right, where we've been wondering a lot leading up to the season if they would get to any of that. The backs in those situations were Barnes and Sawchuk. But, yeah, we only saw Tawi Walker on the short yardage package, and he was being used as a blocker. And then, I mean, Marcus Major got no run. It was all Barnes and Sawchuk, Ted.
It's weird. It's like Major and Tawi go one week and Barnes and Sawchuk go the next. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in that personnel decision making. And frankly, I don't care. I just want whoever's in the backfield to perform well, protect when you're asked to, and in the running game, hit some holes, make the free guy miss, get some good hard yardage whenever it's packed in there. I really don't care. At this point, have you developed a opinion on what guy or a couple of guys look best?
I still think Marcus Major looks the best. I think he looks the most dynamic. Now, clearly, I know the health history is what it is, but I would like to see them find ways to get him the ball in space. The frustrating thing about it, for me, just with how, like, my philosophy when it comes to running the football, he's a perfect outside zone back. He's perfect. Mm-hmm. He's perfect. He's big. He's physical. He's a guy. He's like a one-cut guy, right? He's decisive,
and then
and then pour it downhill. Like, he's perfect for outside zone. We just don't run it.
Do you think they're kind of, because of the injury history, you think that's why he's seen limited time up till now?
Could be, right? I mean, going through the non-conference, I know SMU, right? The staff was, they knew that was going to be their toughest test. So, yeah, maybe you're getting them to conference play. I mean, that could be it. But, I mean, even if you're doing that, don't you give the guy more than one touch?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Barnes, I thought Barnes, he did some good things. He still looks like rusty to me. And one of the most frustrating things is, like, a couple of the plays that were actually blocked, like the best plays that they blocked up, he like didn't see the hole well at all. I mean, I sent you a couple of the clips. Mm-hmm. It's so, and DeMarco's going to be all over him for that. But when they actually did have some nice double teams in the zone game, it's like he didn't see it. And he bounced out into unblocked guys, and they were minimal games. He continues to be what I call a 4-step cutter. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's just, I don't know. He doesn't quite look all the way back to me. And neither does Sawchuk. Now, it was great to see him out there. Mm-hmm. It was great. I was happy he got out there on the field. I'm not sure he's quite comfortable fully opening that thing up, though.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you got him the ball in space a little bit, but and I think it's clear he's going to help this team if he's healthy, right? But I don't know. I wouldn't say tentative, just he kind of looked like he was playing at about 85% speed or something like that. It did not look how it looked in the Cheez-It Bowl last year, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. That's I think that's pretty much what I saw with the backs. I agree. I think Marcus Major, I never would have guessed this, but I think Marcus Major is their best guy on the perimeter and in space.
Yeah.
Right now. Now, I think Sawchuk will end up being that guy, but don't know how much he trusts it right now. And like you said, 85%, but I don't know. Right now, I expect to see majority Marcus Major, Tawee Walker for the next game.
I have no idea what to assume.
I know.
I've got no idea. Okay, let's move on to the wide receivers. Drake Stoops, he is the RPO king.
Yep.
Right? Dylan Gabriel likes the box or doesn't like the box scout, throws it out to Drake Stoops, catches all the short stuff, had 2 touchdowns, probably should have had a third. But yeah, just continues to do damage there close to the line of scrimmage, blocking. I mean, he, as always, blocking his ass off when he has to. Loved what I saw from Ferentz. Just get the guy touches, man.
Yep.
Good things happen when you get this guy the ball, and he's not going to blow by people as a route runner. Like, he doesn't have that type of speed like you see from Andrell Anthony. Like, he can just run by guys.
Right.
But Ferentz doesn't have that type of speed, but he's got good suddenness and feel for like the shorter stuff, like the slants, the skinnies, like the in-breaking routes. And they got him some of the speed sweep stuff again, like we saw last year. And good things happened, man. I liked what I saw from Ferentz.
Yep, I agree. And I think all of the wide receivers had a really good week of attacking the football, right? Going out there and making plays with their hands instead of waiting on the ball to get to them, which we saw a little bit previously. Attack the football. Thought Drake did a really good job. Like that catch, the touchdown in the north end zone, it was like maybe instead of being like right here in front of him, it was kind of straight up and he had to turn like all the way back towards DG and make a great catch as he's falling backwards. That was a good one. Ferentz attacking that slant. I thought all in all, those guys attacking the football was really good.
Ken, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. You know who I think the best running back? I was just thinking this as we were talking about. You know who I think the best running back on the team is?
Who?
Jalil Ferentz. I think if you line him up at running back, he'd be the best back on the team. I know that sounds strange, but I think he's got really good vision. He's got feel. Like, he gets out on the perimeter. He sets up blocks. Like, he's just got a nice feel to him. Yeah. Quick cuts. I know they're never going to play him at running back. Don't get me wrong, but it's just when I watch him, I'm like, that guy plays like a running back.
I don't know if number 4 keeps coming around. Got to have your best players on the field.
Yeah, 4 and 5.
Baylor took a Mike Backer and turned him into a running back. I mean, I think it makes more sense if he did it with a receiver. I mean, he's got a nice physical build to him. He's not a small guy.
He looks like a running back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But, yeah, let's talk about Nick Anderson. Story of the game, right? I mean, just so physically gifted. We've been talking a lot about it. And it was really cool. Had a ton of family there. By the way, you ever seen his dad?
No, but you're telling me.
Whoa. I think it was his dad. Like he was holding like his gym bag that the guys travel with.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming it was his dad. Basically looked like James Harrison. I was like, who is that guy? Oh my gosh. But it was awesome to see Nick Anderson have that type of day. He can run by guys. He's got speed. My favorite play of the day. Love the catch and run for the second touchdown. Right. Route running, suddenness to stop, catch the ball, get upfield, stiff arm a guy, go score.
Yep.
That's what it looks like. Right. He is, for me, he is by far the most physically impressive receiver we have when you talk about the combination of what you want at that position. And I'm just excited to see where it goes from here.
He's got first round wide receiver makeup with
No doubt.
his measurables. And from everything I've seen from him, he blocks his ass off out on the perimeter. You can't cover him on deep stuff. He can flat run by you. You know, some of the taller guys, whenever they're running deep stuff, it's more about being able to go over the top of someone on a ball. It's not the case with him. He could just straight run by guys. He's great after the catch. Right. I think he's our best receiver.
I've been saying it, man.
We don't know the consistency, but when he's been out there, I haven't seen anything bad when he's been out there. We've seen times where he's not out there, and that's like the only thing that you can hold against him, and it's not his fault, is we just haven't seen a whole lot of him yet.
Yeah. I hope we see more.
I think we're about to.
I hope we see more. Now, Andrew Anthony, right, tone setter on the first play. And hey, if DG puts it out there a little more, puts it out there a little sooner, that's probably a touchdown. I mean, he just steps on the guy's toes on the post and runs by him. I mean, just runs by him. But that speed's important. That threat, like it's something that defenses have to pay attention to. It's something that they have to have a plan for. But I've been really impressed. He continues also to block really well in a lot of the RPO stuff on the edge when they're throwing those bubbles and quicks. So he has exceeded my expectations, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's playing some good ball, Ted.
Yep. No, I agree. I feel much better about the wide receiver group than I did a week ago.
I'm with you. Jaden Gibson had the really nice catch. And that was a laser from DG on that seam ball, but to catch it the way that he did with his hands, really nice play. It's good to see him continue to make positive plays, right? This team need him to come along.
He came in the red zone, and I was like, okay, they're going to throw him one up down in the corner of the end zone. He kept splitting over to that left side. They never got to it, but I think he's going to be a weapon this year in the red zone, I think.
Yeah. All right, tight end group, not much from the group as a whole, right? We only saw, a handful of snaps from Blake Smith. Now, they did get to a few 12 personnel snaps, but just not much of an impact on the football game for him. Stogner caught a pass, but he's just, with what we've seen up to this point, I do not think he's going to be a threat as a pass catcher. He's trying his best, man, to mix it up as a blocker. I mean, he really is. Please use your hands, Austin Stogner. Like, please. And in all seriousness, and you talked about it on the broadcast, like some of these zone insert game, right? Where he's inserting, and it basically it's not quite old school ISO, but it's him and a backer one-on-one. Right, in some of these situations. He's ducking his head, and it's dangerous, man. He's got to stop doing it. Mm-hmm. He's got to stop doing it. Now, it's bad technique. It's not going to help you block guys, but it's also dangerous. He's got to stop it.
Yep.
You've got to keep your head up. You got to bow your neck. You got to use your hands. You can't go in there hands wide, head down. It's every time I see it, like I'm watching the film going, I don't like doing that. Please stop.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree. I wish that like our tight ends are not a part of our passing game. They're just not at all. Aside from running a little, what amounts to a check down is what Stogner caught, right? And they'll catch some things on those little flat routes where they're releasing straight to the flat. We need to find a guy that will just put his hand down and block his ass off, and will come off the ball and will come across the formation on split zone and go crush a defensive end, or on the insert will go crush a linebacker. We don't need a tight end. We need a meathead is what we need, right? I mean,
if I was Levy, and they are doing some good things. I don't want to make it sound like they're just god awful. They're not. But how much does Connor Neer weigh?
To high 230s, I think. I told Coach Venables to put Kobe McKenzie at fullback, is what I told him. Like, if you're going to play him at third team Mike, put that dude in the backfield at H, offset him, run insert, run split zone, and run counter, and let him blow up linebackers and defensive ends.
I love that idea.
I'll
tell you right now.
I said, put Kobe McKenzie at fullback, at H-back. But they won't do it. But, I mean, that dude will bring it. I mean, that's what you need. Like I said, we are not, tight end is not part of our passing game.
And it's not overly complicated stuff. It's like, hey, man, you got that guy, or you go back and you block the end man on the line of scrimmage. It's not like it would take a bunch of time.
Right. Yep.
Like, hey, that's your guy. That's your guy. Got it? That would be awesome. That's a great, probably not going to happen, but that's a great idea.
Needs to.
Because the tight ends currently, and I know that, like, Joe John Finley's a really good coach, right? And that's where there's just not a lot of pop in that room as blockers or as pass catchers. Like, there's not much. And they need to get something out of that position, or they need to just put another wide receiver on the field, in my opinion.
That's kind of my point, is like, it's just a blocker. Or I don't know. We could throw out all the ideas all day long. It's not going to happen, but, you know, I mean, it's not very effective. Like Stogner, it's just not what he's 6'6". You know, as a linebacker on an insert play or on a lead play, if he's 6'6", I don't care how much he weighs. Give me that guy all day long. They're so easy to get under. They're not good at those type of plays. And it's the same thing coming all the way across the formation on a split zone. It's hard for those guys to win the leverage battle against the DN that's starting with his hand down. You know, it's hard for those guys to win that battle, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, we'll see. Offensive line. Group as a whole, just not creating enough movement in the running game. Especially, I mentioned it, the double teams, just, it's two guys on one guy. They are not, and those are what I would call those are the inflection points of the running plays, right? Like, that's where you have to be good, right? You have to win your double teams when you got two guys on one. And I think that's the biggest issue right now. I can just go left to right. We got a lot of guys we got to talk about because a lot of different guys played. Mm-hmm. Walter Rouse, both tackles. I thought it was their worst game of the season for both of them. For Rouse, I didn't think, like, he wasn't moving great. I thought he had some false steps in the run game that kind of put him in some bad positions. The hold he got called for was meh. Thought he was solid in pass protection. It was just underwhelming.
It's a game he should dominate.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a dominant performance.
No, it was not. Savion Byrd, not really sure what happened, man. It was concerning. And I'm not talking about anything about his play, right? He had some really good snaps when he was out there. He just wasn't out there for very long. He was crying on the sideline. And typically that's one of two things, right? In my experience in football. And he did get kind of rolled up on field goal, which was strange and had like a slight limp going. But if a guy's crying on the sideline, it's usually one of two things. His season is over because of injury, or it's a head injury. I mean, that's my experience. And I didn't ask. I didn't want to put any trainer, player, anyone in that situation. But that's either option is not good, especially when you think about the D-line that they're playing coming up on Saturday.
Right.
So yeah. I was excited to watch him play in this game. I thought it would be a game where he could gain some confidence. And yeah, what he played 14 snaps on offense. And my last note is, are you okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know. My guess is it's a concussion, but I haven't talked to anyone. I'm honestly just speculating.
Yeah. Well, of the options, I mean, that I don't know.
Neither option's good.
No, neither option's good, but you'd like to have him back this season at some point, because now we're either going to be really inexperienced or really undersized at guard, right? One or the other.
Yeah. Now, Caden Green came in. I thought it was interesting. Like, hey, Bird's out. First guy to come in at left guard was Caden Green.
We talked about this some like back in the spring and through the summer, like this, if this would ever be an option.
Yeah. And I'll start here. He looks massive at guard. I mean, just massive. Right. And I really like the strain that he plays with, right? Plays hard. He strains. And he had some good plays, but he's going to be disappointed with the way that it looks on film. But the good thing is, I think it's easily correctable. And I think really the issue is like, hey, man, he just he's got to get used to life in the muck there, baby. Mm-hmm. The interior is a different world. Everything happens quicker, right? And his biggest issue was his feet. He was not gaining any ground with his steps in the run game. Just picking them up and putting them down. Not creating force moving forward. It makes it really hard to move guys if you're not good with your feet in the run game in that situation. I think that's easily correctable for him. I think he'll see that on tape and go, what was I doing? Right? Yeah. And it's easily correctable in some of the shorter yardage plays, like down by the goal line. Not only was he not gaining ground with his feet, he was hopping. Hop and brace. No. You have to get your feet in the ground and play with force through the ground. Force through the ground is how you create force. I think the guy fights like hell when he's engaged. But hey, get the feet right. I think it's a pretty easy fix. I think he'll get more comfortable there in the interior. Just got to get used to life in there, baby. It's different.
Yeah, his size could, if he can get some of the technique and footwork down, his size in there could end up being a really nice bonus, right?
Yeah.
And he's a strong kid.
Yeah.
But like you said, that footwork, if you don't have the feet right, you're not using big muscle groups. You end up, up on your toes. You got to get the hips into it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think he'll be able to fix that pretty easily, or at least I hope he will, because he may be starting on the road against two future NFL draft picks at defensive tackle here.
Oh, yeah.
That is a very real possibility. Troy Everett played a lot of snaps, played some guard, played some center. I kind of know what I'm going to get with him now. Battled nicely, had one terrible mental error, but he's a guy that's not going to create a ton of movement at the first level. And he does do a nice job working up to the second level, getting on backers, staying engaged, finishing on those guys, but just a little undersized and doesn't create a ton at the point of attack. So I feel like I just say the same thing every single week about him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's a role for that. I mean, he's your utility interior offensive lineman. Not going to overwhelm people with strength and power, but he's going to block the right guy, going to be able to get up to the second level a little bit, reliable. There's a place for that.
Yeah. Andrew Ram thought he was much better in pass protection in this game. He's got to get his pads down, right? In the run game, in pass protection, just got to play lower. I would like to see the guys on the interior as a whole pass some of the twist games off quicker, right? I'd like to see their eyes go from here to here quicker and recognize that thing, recognize it, communicate it faster, especially Cincinnati's going to do a ton of that stuff where they're going to have to pass a bunch of stuff off. But Rame is really struggling to create movement on double teams in the tight zone variations. And I just disagree with the technique that they're using. I do. I'm just going to make it that simple. They're going high leg technique. He is hitting his guards more than he's hitting defensive tackles currently with how he's doing it. Like he's high legging and then he's like throwing a shoulder and I just don't understand it. And he's typically hitting Matoyer or whoever they're playing at left guard more than he's hitting the defensive tackle. And I don't know why they're doing it. It's not working. It's not working. It's not creating movement. It's just, I wish they would reevaluate that, but I'm not the coach.
Does that make it slower?
The technique, well, first of all, you are much slower coming off the ball with that technique. Traditionally, when you high leg, it's in a duo concept, right? And traditionally, when you high leg, you're either working to a guy that's stacked right over you or kind of even a little backside, but the play, the flow of the play, is going to draw him over so you can be thicker on the double team. The problem with they're high legging it, and not to get too deep in the weeds, they're high legging it. The backer is almost a little backside. The ball never goes front side in the tight zone concept. So the guy isn't like the flow, the track of the back is pouring it downhill straight down. It's not a zone path or not. Some people remember like ride 34, ride 35. If you played in that type of system, it's not ride action. So the backer never flows. So it may
is he knocking the guard off on his angle up to the backer?
He's just knocking the guard off straight up. It doesn't look right to me. Okay. I don't know how else to put it, but, and clearly you're not seeing them make a lot of money in that concept. You're just not seeing it.
Real muddy in there.
Real muddy, man. A lot of bodies. McCabe Matoyer thought he played well. He graded out the best for me. Thought he was really consistent. Never questioned his effort. It's not perfect. He still needs to create more movement. When he's kind of on an island in the run game, held up well in pass protection. Got pulled again down by the goal line, right? That is on tape, right? Got swamped. That is on tape. He needs to be ready for it now, right?
Especially this week.
Yeah. So other than that, I thought McKay did a really nice job, but Tyler Guyton, I know he's going to be really disappointed in the way he played. In fact, I could just tell by his body language once that first group got taken out of the game, he did not look like a guy who had just played a game where, his team was beating the absolute hell out of the opponent. He's normally so efficient with his feet. And that was just not. I thought his feet were the problem in this game. He would freeze them randomly. There's like some hesitation. They'd get wide. They'd get narrow. He'd float in his sets. Right. He'd go. There's kind of this point tackles want to get to, and it's different for every tackle. There's kind of this point tackles want to get to in their alignment, like where they're at with the edge guy. He went too far a couple times, got beat inside as a result of it. And it was kind of catching in the run game, which I hadn't really seen from him. He'd been so good at coming off the ball and being decisive with his feet. But yeah, I thought overall I thought it was his worst game of the season. And I think it's stuff that's correctable though. Right. And he missed with his hands a few times, but once again, I thought it was all connected to the feet. A little all over the place for Guyton. And, with the way that guy works, I know he'll take correcting that stuff very seriously. He's a much better player than what he put on tape in that game.
Yeah. And I'm just guessing question wise, but probably maybe got caught oversetting and being too quick, because now these edge guys were strong, but not super fast get off guys.
Yeah. And that's like Kapinski's whole thing, 0 for them. Like he was like swat and go inside type of guy. Like you got to know who you're playing against.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And you'll get more straight speed at times from upcoming defensive line, but yeah, that's got to be, you got to take that film work to the field. Like there's a lot of, like, tackle may be one of the positions both offensively and defensively where there's more, like, you've got to study the individual player that you're blocking more so than just like the look or the front that you're getting.
Yeah. No, but he played below the level of expectation I have for him. Right. And I expect it to not look like that again during the season. But I've talked about this a lot. I don't view all these guys through the same lens, right? Guyton, I view through the, hey, you should be a top 15 pick lens. That's not what a top 15 pick should look like against Tulsa.
Right.
And he knows that. Right. He knows what it looks like. So we'll see how he bounces back against Cincinnati. All right, let's get to call your shot. You got anything else on the offense before we get to call your shot?
I don't think so. I think that's
Did I make you sad with my evaluation of the run game?
No, I think some of it you can just gather just generally watching the offense that it doesn't feel like there's a lot of space there. Now, I do think teams they're piling the box on us a lot, and we did a good job against Tulsa and backing them out of there with some deep balls, but they didn't change a whole lot of what they did. You've got to be able to make teams pay if they're going to pile the box on you. I mean, at times you're still going to have to be able to run it, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we get better there.
Yeah. All right, let's get to call your shot. We asked you guys your number one takeaway from the win. This first one comes from @Realist Todd, who says, DG made a jump from last year to this year. The running back room is full of names, but where's the guy? The BV effect is taking shape on the defense. Need to clean up zone coverage or abandon it.
Well,
a lot to unpack there from our guy, Realist Todd.
They ain't gonna abandon it. But yeah, I do agree. There's still some times in zone coverage that we're not relating close enough to wide receivers, or we're flat out in the wrong spot. Got to clean it up, and we're getting better. Like we're a far cry from where we've been previously. And some of those things are just going to happen. Offenses are good, and those guys are smart, and they're creating good stuff against you. So, but I do agree.
Yeah, but we're all happy with how the defenses look through 3 games, right?
Yeah,
Now, I know the competition's about to ramp up. Like, I'm completely aware of that. But yeah, I guess we were pretty pleased with everything through 3 games last year.
I my I've got a couple of problem areas. The biggest one for me is getting our rush coordinated to where we stop letting the damn quarterback out of the pocket untouched. Like he should have to work to get outside to space. He shouldn't just be able to float out into space. And way too many times we're making it easy on him. And we're about to face a really good dual threat quarterback. And they're going to make it a point to get him out of the pocket and put pressure on us downfield. Like that's a lot of the pass plays we've given up are whenever the play's been extended by the quarterback. So,
yeah. All right. This other one comes from Will Melton, who says the hate or lack of support for Jeff Lebby and DG is utterly ridiculous and should finally be put to rest. DG has been very, very good and is an excellent source of knowledge for Jackson Arnold. Will, do you not know how this fan base operates? Come on, man.
Yeah.
They're never satisfied. Never satisfied. I mean, that's just how this thing works.
Don't fight the losing battle. All right. There's always going to be, yeah, but that one incompletion or, yeah, but that one play call. Whenever we've got access to all of our best skill players that are out there on the field, our offense looks pretty daggum good.
I'm with you. All right. Birthday shout outs. Welcome to the world, Jeffrey Sullivan James and Freddie Lynn James.
Nice. Happy 3rd birthday to Atlas Perry.
And happy 16th birthday to Janie Ford. All right, let's get to some of our recaps of the best games of week 3 in college football. But first,
John Vance Auto Group has been serving Oklahomans for 40 years. They're family owned and operating. They've got 9 full service dealerships in Woodward, Miami, and Guthrie. No matter what your vehicle needs are, John Vance Auto Group has you covered. Carry domestic brands such as Ford, Lincoln, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, and Wagoneer. John Vance Auto Group's goal is to give unequaled service and to exceed customers' expectations in every way, which is why they have their lifetime loyalty program. And here's how it works. Buy a new or used car from them, then all you have to do is get all of the manufacturer recommended maintenance done at the Vance dealership. And if something goes wrong with the components of your engine, transmission, drive axle, or transfer unit, they will cover the repair costs. It's a great deal. You can browse their entire inventory or find the John Vance dealership near you at vanceautogroup.com.
And attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to the garage for hand smashed patties, butter toasted buns, and ice cold beer. It's the perfect spot to watch any big game. And with all the garage locations being open at 10 p.m. or later every night, it's the go-to late night spot. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and to order online from the garage in your neighborhood.
Yeah, those garage locations are open late. You could have watched the Colorado State game there.
It was a late one. It was a late one.
It was a late one. Week 3, college football. Let's start with Colorado State at number 18, Colorado. Coach Prime and the Buffs get it done 43-35 in double overtime. A lot to unpack from this football game, Ted, but let's start here. That hit on Travis Hunter was dirty as hell. Way late.
I'm shocked that wasn't.
I mean, should he be kicked out of the game for that? I feel like you should be kicked out of the game for that.
Yeah, there's different levels of that type of play, right? But
I mean, it's a dangerous hit,
it's dangerous, and if you hurt someone, yeah, I don't know. That was bad. It's not, and I know that game got really chippy. And part of it was because of that right there. But yeah, you just can't do that. Like, I'm all for punishing teams physically, but you got to do it within the laws of the game, the rules of the game. That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Henry Blackburn robbed us of getting to watch one of the best players in college football in that game. And it sounds like he may be out for a few weeks, according to what Deion Sanders said. And that sucks because they have Oregon and USC next.
Yeah.
So thanks, Henry. What are you doing, man?
That's tough. And I don't know what they took him to the hospital to be evaluated at some point, right?
Yeah, I don't. There's been no details have come out like what's going on, but yeah, Deion said think he's going to be out a couple weeks. That is one of the situations where I am. It should be code of Hammurabi football style, right? Either someone for Colorado gets to just drill Blackburn the way that he did Hunter, or he's got to sit out till Hunter's back.
Yeah.
Just that's one of those where it's like, this doesn't feel like, it feels like something should happen to that guy, you know?
Yeah. That was bad. Especially in that moment, like, clearly dirty play. Like, not just not overly aggressive. Like, sometimes you can be overly aggressive and something like that may happen. It was clear, like, I'm going to hit this guy. Like, he's their best player. I'm taking him out. Is what that looked like, right?
That's what it looked like to me too, man, which is no place. Hey, you and I, we are all about physical football, but that ain't it. That's not it. All right. Jay Norvell, just so much coming into the game with the things that he said during his coach's show, right? Talk that talk coming into the game. And I played for him. He is a fiery guy. He is not scared. He is an intense guy. That man is a psycho on game day. And I was disappointed. Like, he had a chance to go win the football game there with just over 2 minutes to go. 4th and 2 from the Colorado 45. And I know they end up hitting an incredible punt. I understand that. But I thought he should have gone for it. I thought they should be more aggressive in that situation. Now, some people may say, hey, don't let him go 98 yards and then convert the 2-point conversion and tie the football game. And we'll get to the decision he made in overtime. But I thought he had a chance. Like, you have a chance. It's one play to go win the game, man.
Yeah.
They'd played so well up to that point. I thought I hated that he punted in that situation. I thought it was a mistake.
He may have got caught in they were the better football team. Up to that point, they were the better football team. And you could say for a good portion of the game, they were clearly the better football team. And it's one of those, like, if you're the better football team, you take the conservative approach. If you're not the better football team, but you found yourself in a situation where you're going to be able to steal one, you get aggressive. I feel like he got caught in that, like, we're better than them right now. We don't need to put it on one decision right here. We've done a good job against their offense for a big portion of this football game. Like, I understand his thinking there, but you're still in that environment. Trust the guys and go get that 4th down. It's easy to second guess it and say it from here, but I think that probably was the right call, and he'll be second guessing it forever.
Yeah. Now, Shadur Sanders, credit to him, man. Credit to that offense. He did what good quarterbacks do, right? He made Jay Norvell pay for that decision. Took his team right down the field, accurate throw after accurate throw, right? They get to the scramble drill for the pass that Jimmy Horn catches that he ends up scoring on, right? And a really nice design from Sean Lewis on the 2-point play, right, to get the tight end open there. But Shadur Sanders, he continues to impress me, Ted. Like the composure in that moment to lead your team on a drive like that, like that's big time football, man.
Right. Yeah. I credit him. I don't know. There began to be a weird feeling in the game to where, I mean, maybe even a little bit before that drive, where it's like Colorado's going to win the football game, right? It just, you felt like Colorado State had some opportunities to put the game out of reach, and they just didn't get it done. And with that environment, it just started to feel like momentum's about to be back on their side, and they're going to make something special happen. And he made the throws whenever he needed to. Struggled for big portions of the game, but whenever they needed to, they found some good stuff offensively, and he made some really nice plays.
Yeah, Nicolosi, the quarterback for Colorado State,
no. He made
he looked
some
awesome.
throws. Some of those throws he made on the run and stuff, he was good.
Yeah, but so let's talk about the overtime. There was a lot of confusion, and it's because something happened that never happens. Colorado wins the toss. They say we want to go on offense first. That never happens. You always play defense first, right? In overtime.
So you have the option.
Then
you know what
then
you
your offense knows what you have to get. So the way that it works, and the reason there was so much confusion, everyone was like, wait, why? What's going on? It's because if you win the toss, you have the choice for the first overtime, right? And everyone always chooses to play defense last. Or excuse me, to play defense first so that your offense knows what you have to get. And that the second overtime, the team that lost the flip gets choice. So typically the team that wins, you choose to play defense first. Your offense is then on the field. The team that lost the flip then chooses to play defense first. So your offense goes back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is not what happened here. Everyone was like, what the hell's going on?
Or you think that had to have been a mistake, right? For them choosing to go offense first?
I don't know, but they did it, and Colorado got a little assistance in that first overtime, right? You had the face mask, you had the targeting, some mistakes from Colorado State, but it goes back to another mistake I think Jay Norvell made in this game. Colorado just scored. They kicked the extra point. Couple plays, you go right down the field and score. Horton catches the touchdown. God, that guy had himself a night. My goodness. Mm-hmm. You have the opportunity, one play, right, to go win the football game. I was shocked when they trotted the field goal team out there. Shocked. I couldn't believe it. You just got burned for being conservative at the end of the fourth quarter. Go for two and go for the win, man. What are you doing?
I don't know. Again, I think going for it is the right call. Just to play like devil's advocate on his side, he probably, the way they helped him out with the penalties, probably thought like, we're going to be able to hold him here. But you're right. Like, if
you're Colorado State,
if at any point from throughout the week, if someone said to him, you have a chance to win the game with a 2-point conversion, like game over, walk off the field, it's done, do you take it? And he would, without a doubt, have said, hell yes. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
I know.
Now, they end up losing the football game, right? Colorado deserves credit. A lot of people say, hey, you're a massive favorite. You probably should have lost, but hey, you won the game. Sometimes it's about finding a way when the other team's got it that night and you don't.
Yep.
And they found a way, man. I think Colorado State let them off the hook, but they found a way. And That's an extremely valuable experience for those guys, right? But yeah, I think Colorado State, what a missed opportunity for Norvell in that program. Should have won the game. Should have been more aggressive. I thought too conservative when you had a chance to go win the football game. But what an awesome game. I can't believe I stayed up
I
for
did
the
too.
entire football game.
I thought it was awesome. Everyone stayed up because they wanted to see the handshake after the game, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the the most anticipated post-game handshakes we've seen. Um, that was wild. Like I've seen some people on social media like saying how what were they like a 20-point favorite? I don't know what the line
It's like
was.
23 or 24. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
How
big.
can you storm the field when you're a 24-point favorite? Because you've been horrible forever. And you beat a rival in double overtime. Like, come on. Like really, like we're gonna get offended that someone stormed the field whenever they've been a horrible like for 15 years or whatever it's been. So I don't know. I thought that was fun. It's say what you want. I still don't know how good Colorado is. They don't need to be good though, because it's entertaining as hell to watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
They don't even have to be good.
It
It's just fun.
was yeah, it was a great game. Also, we talk a lot about Shador. How about Shiloh?
Nice.
I
Look
mean,
good.
both the Dion sons, impact players in that game. What he had the pick six. Did you see the pick six?
Yeah.
He you can see it. He's like, I'm about to do the Deion Sanders high step. And then he realizes, like, I should not do that. I think this guy's about to catch me. And he goes and runs. It was so funny to watch. You could literally see the wheels spinning as he's about to do it. And then he had a forced fumble. Like, he was extremely impactful. And
Yep.
last thing I have on this game, we talked about tight ends impacting games.
Yeah.
Right. And the lack of impact that OU's getting from that position. The tight end play in this game, Harrison for Colorado, he was the most important player in their fourth quarter in the overtime.
Yep.
And then Holker for Colorado State. Sign me up for one of those guys.
That was
Why don't we have one of those guys?
that shoestring catch was really nice.
That is a big
running
dude
well.
that can run.
Yeah. How big is he?
He looks massive.
Yeah, he was running well. Had the big old arm brace on or whatever that was, make him look even bigger. That's like I was trying to replicate Gronkowski or something with that, I think. But that was cool. I mean, that was a couple of those catches were awesome. There was some really exciting plays in that game.
Yeah, it was an awesome
Some
football game.
top-notch quarterback play at times. Some of those throws from the Colorado State guy were just like, whoa. I didn't know anything about that kid.
Yeah, it was that was a fun one. And the Colorado situation, like they're the talk of college football, man. And it just continues to roll on. Now, I think we're about to find out how good they are.
Yeah.
And it should be interesting. I hope Travis Hunter's okay. I hope he can play in those games. It's going to be such a bummer if he doesn't.
What could it be?
I don't know. Like
he took it right to the chest, right?
Like a broken sternum or like ribs or internal bleeding. Like, I don't know, man.
Just
it was bad.
I think he'll play. Because I didn't see anything like I didn't see like concussion. I didn't see like joint stuff. I think it's one of those things where he probably hurt his sternum or something and was having trouble breathing, and they wanted to go check and make sure there wasn't anything going on internally. That's just like a far outside view of it.
When I saw it initially, like, and I heard he went to the hospital, I was like, I wonder if he has like a collapsed lung.
Yeah.
Or something. Dude, he got blasted.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, but it's gonna be a real shame if he doesn't play in these next two. I mean, that's unfortunate. All right. Other game I wanted to talk about. K-State went to Missouri and got beat 30-27. The Tigers get it done on a 61-yard game-winning field goal from Harrison Mevis. Ted, man, that is a tough way to lose a football game.
I know it.
And it was really confusing because on the broadcast, they were like, there's flags everywhere. There's flags all over the field. And then they just didn't talk about it.
Nothing. Yeah, I don't know what went on there. I don't know if maybe they thought it was a numbers issue, like too many guys on the field. Maybe Kansas State had too many guys out there, and they know it's like they're gonna wave it off. I don't know, but this was such a weird game going into it because, I kept looking at the line. It's like, come on, what is happening here? With the way that game is, like, it kept getting lower and lower, and it's one of those things we talked about. It's like it's Kansas State's entire team against Luther Burden. Like, can they throw the ball up enough to him and let him do some things to keep them around in the game? And that dude's a stud.
As I was, kind of taking notes from watching this game, my top highlighted note was one team had Luther Burden and one team did not.
Yeah.
He is electric, man. I thought he was the best player on the field. Now, if you like hobbled quarterbacks, this was the football game for you. I mean, you saw just Brady Cook and Will Howard both just really, especially in the second half, really struggling to move around. I thought I liked Eli Drinkwitz's aggressiveness in this game, right? I mean, early in the game, goes for it on the 4th and goal, ends up paying off, right? Cook had the rushing touchdown, thought that was a massive play and a massive decision in the game. Chris Kyman, there's a 4th and 2 late. Like, he did not have the same aggressiveness. I thought he could have been aggressive in that moment. He was not. But really, I thought this game came down to what I would categorize as uncharacteristic mistakes.
Yeah.
For Kansas State. How you leave Luther Burden uncovered for a 47-yard touchdown, I have no clue. He's the best player on their team. You have to know where he's at all times. How he's running by himself, I've got no answer. They blew another coverage, right? Mookie Cooper is like 40. It was like a 41-yarder, right? K-State had 3 plays. Now, they ended up scoring on both drives, but they had 3 plays where touchdowns got called off for penalties, right? 5:55 to go in the game. Game is on the line, right? It's coming down to these last couple series. Trayshawn Ward, it looks like at least, he's going to walk in for a touchdown. Didn't get the snap off in time. Delay a game. Have to settle for a field goal. I mean, they had a false start when they got the ball, like false start. There were a lot of mistakes for Kansas State that you typically, it's not the type of mistakes you expect from that team.
Yeah. And, in our game against Tulsa, I said, defensively pretty good. We had a handful of mistakes that easily correctable, but like we had 2 plays where one was a blown coverage. One was just, it was a good play, but I think it started by being late and lazy with an adjustment. And when you play close games, it just takes one lapse, one busted coverage for an easy walk-in touchdown for someone for 40 or 50 yards, and you get beat. And right now, just like last year, I'm not sure how much of a margin for error we have against teams in conference that when we're going to play better competition, to where like those things are okay in a game where you're going to score, as many points as you want. But as things get more difficult, the mistakes that cost you a game get smaller and smaller and smaller. So, I mean, it's a lesson. You look around the country and see some of these games like Kansas State shooting themselves in the foot on things they typically don't do. Or you got a winnable game on the road in non-conference against an SEC opponent, and you walk out of there really upset at yourself because of some easy things that you don't typically do.
Yeah. last thing on this game. Ben Sinnott may be one of the most underrated players in the country. That dude is a beast at tight end.
He'll do it all. He blocks like crazy too.
Yeah. I mean, he was huge for them in this game. But it's a good win for Missouri. I expected Kansas State to go down there and handle business. And to Missouri's credit, they did a good job of getting their playmakers the football. And, you know, they didn't have some of the big time mistakes that Kansas State had. Right?
Yep.
Thought the crowd was really good, was really into it, looked like a really fun environment. And that feels like a really big win for Drinkwitz. We'll see where the rest of the season goes for Missouri, but yeah, that felt really important for him.
Yeah, for sure. I still think Kansas State's on the short list for Big 12 teams that most likely end up in the championship game. We'll see how they respond.
Yeah, they got to get that offensive line healthy and intact. But hey, we'll see. Yeah, I'm with you. I still think they're a really good football team. All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first, do you have difficulty sitting for long periods of time or can't lay on your side due to pain? Well, it's a hip thing, and the only person to go see is Dr. Brandon Johnson at the Hip Clinic in Oklahoma City. No matter your age, the Hip Clinic has the experience and knowledge to help ease your hip pain and preserve your hip joint. Don't let the pain hold you back any longer. Don't just accept a hip replacement. Call the Hip Clinic today at 844-KEEP-HIP or visit thehipclinicokc.com.
College football fans, are you in good hands? Because the insurance from Allstate, you'll have a winning game plan, like a reliable coverage and protection for everything life throws at you. Because just like how great protection can save a football game, it can also save you money. So get protected with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call a local agent today to learn more. Brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands.
And Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School represents a tradition of educational excellence in Oklahoma City. Grounded in a faith-based education, Bishop McGuinness offers a college prep curriculum that includes 22 AP courses, participation in OSSAA athletics, and numerous clubs and organizations for students to join and grow. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
They did it. They did it. Unbelievable. Iowa, Gabe. Iowa got over the number 25 points. They hit the massive number of 41 against Western Michigan, trying to get back ahead of the curve whenever it comes to their points average for Coach Brian Ferentz.
That's huge news. Are you just going to give us an Iowa scoring update every single week, pretty much?
Probably. Yeah. I think it's telling whenever you're beating Western Michigan and you're still trying to pad the stats late in the game in the fourth quarter, trying to punch some in.
Now, the most impressive part is they didn't score on defense at all. Those are all offensive scores, pal.
Yep. All offensive scores. You got to love it. Such a weird dynamic. I've grown to dislike Iowa football for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. I actually should like the way that they perform, but I don't know. There's something there. I've been rooting against them for quite some time, but they got up back ahead of the curve. But once they start Big Ten play, let's all be honest, they won't score more than 17.
We'll see. That defense is pretty legit, though.
They are. They're good.
So, yeah, it is. I do enjoy you keeping us updated. Thank you. I will say, I saw some of that game. Caden McNamara is, he had a couple interceptions. He still doesn't look healthy. Like, their quarterback situation is strange.
Well, yeah.
It's Iowa. Okay. Yeah, good point.
Iowa. When have they not been what, you got to go back to like Banks at quarterback? Like, how many game changers have they had at quarterback? I don't, it's very minimal. Very minimal.
Yeah. It's good though. Hey, 41 for the Hawkeyes. Good for you guys. That's awesome. All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
A bunch of options this weekend. By the way, it was a weird week, but I couldn't settle on Alabama or Iowa State. Both look bad. Probably have to go towards Iowa State since they lost the game and Alabama won. But, as I learned in White Men Can't Jump, sometimes when you win, you actually lose. So Bama had to qualify as loser of the week as well. Wow.
It was 3-3 at halftime of that game. And for the vast majority of the fourth quarter, it was a one-score football game. I think Bama scored with like 30-something seconds left to go in the game to win 17-3. I know they're coming off a tough loss, right? Everyone's telling them how bad they are. It's almost like they believed people. It was really strange to see them struggle with a team like South Florida for that long. I can only imagine what that fan base is feeling right now. Oh my gosh.
It's crazy because to me, the strangest thing about it is how bad their offensive line is playing. That's been like one of the hallmarks. The amount of draft picks they've had at offensive line during Saban's tenure has been huge, and they've got great recruits there. I mean, they still have, like, technically speaking, if you go off like the star rating, the best roster in all of college football, but it don't look like it when you watch that offensive line. That left tackle, he ain't got it. And I don't know what they're going to do, but this could potentially be a really bad year for Alabama, like really bad, if they don't pull it together. Which they're still capable of pulling things together, but something better happen quickly.
I honestly, there was so much being made about their quarterback situation coming into the year, right? They'd had such a good run that a big part of me was just like, oh, they got another guy. Like,
and
they have to
they'll
have
be
another
so
guy.
good everywhere else that even you'll make a subpar quarterback compared to what you've had previously look way better than he is, right? But
Yeah, they'll be fine.
right.
But they started Buckner. Ty Simpson came in. They were a combined 10 of 23 for 107 yards. At
Crazy.
Alabama, with those skill guys, and I know a lot of people, oh, they don't have like first rounders at wide receiver. Well, they got a bunch of day two picks, day three guys, like
I mean,
107 yards passing for Bama.
And they didn't play Georgia.
No, they played South Florida.
You shouldn't need a bunch of first round picks to go handle South Florida.
I don't know, man. Yeah, that was very. I thought that they were going to murder that team. Like the bounce back. I thought it was going to be the big bounce back. Like, oh, pray for those young men from South Florida. They're catching Bama just like at their angriest point, and that's not what happened. And that was strange. But hey, at least they won the game, and Nick Saban didn't try to come after anyone like Matt Campbell did with that guy that was yelling at him.
Oh,
What do you say?
gosh.
Hot seat, Campbell.
You're on the hot seat, Campbell. You're on the hot seat. Which last thing on the Bama deal, real quick though, what I saw from that game, my biggest takeaway was how in the hell did they keep it within 10 with Texas? Right. Yeah. But Iowa State, man, it's been a horrible offseason for them. And it's like offensively, there's just nothing there. Nothing. And that's somewhat been the case for them at times, but dude, they're in a world of hurt.
Ohio scored 10 points and won the game. Their offense, you can say whatever you want about the system. It's been the same problem the last couple of years. Their offensive line stinks.
Mm-hmm.
They stink. They couldn't run the ball against Ohio. They had 38 yards rushing against Ohio. Rocco Becht was their leading rusher. Cartavius Norton, who I don't know if you've seen him, number 5 for them, that dude is built. And he's got some juice, man. 9 carries, 15 yards. Their O-line stinks. Stinks.
Jeez.
Their defense gave up 10 points and they lost to Ohio. Can you imagine the divide in that locker room right now? Like, hey, guys, can we please get some help? Brutal.
I mean, I don't know what the future holds there for Campbell. I mean, I think he's safe. Like, he's a good coach. He's going to be doing everything he can to make some offensive changes, but at some point, he's probably going to lose his DC, isn't he?
I don't know. Haycock's kind of an older guy. I think he's just. But did Campbell miss his opportunity to take like a big job?
Probably.
Starting to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the hottest name in the streets for multiple years.
They had
that program
that came through that was just, had so many really, really good players, and they had like 8 tight ends on their team. And that's like, I don't know how good their offensive line ever really was, but they were so good at tight end and they could do so many different things out of that 13 personnel. They were just hell to deal with because they could power run game you, but they could split those guys out and have mismatches. They don't have that anymore.
No. We'll see how it goes for him in Big 12 play, but a rough start to the season for the Cyclones. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
elevate your tailgate with Chapel Supply and Equipment in Oklahoma City. Chapel Supply and Equipment has generators and inverters on hand that'll give you all the power you need so you can take your tailgate to the next level. They also have the top of the line heaters to keep you warm during those cold tailgates later in the season. They're Oklahoma owned and operated. Elevate your tailgate by calling 405-495-1722 or visit chapelsupply.com. That's CHAPPELL supply.com.
And First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. Come on now, people. Make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
For my winner of the weekend, give me the Florida Gators.
Big win.
Not how I thought this one was going to go, especially with the way that the game started, right? Florida misses that field goal. Joe Milton takes the balls right down the field. And I think a lot of people, including myself, were like, uh-oh, Florida, you might be in trouble. False. Run game was fantastic for the Gators, right? You think about how that game started, and then Travis Etienne just rips off that long touchdown run. And it was all Florida for the most part the rest of the way, man. I mean, that's a really nice win for that football team, especially with how they looked, going and losing to Utah, just how unorganized and sloppy it looked. For them to play that way, to really dominate the point of attack in that game, huge for the program, really big for Billy Napier. And now Tennessee has lost 10 straight in the swamp. 10 straight.
Brutal. That's crazy. I thought that they were like, there's a lot of those streaks with Tennessee right now. The Alabama one that they finally got over the hump on. I thought hype was going to be tearing down all those old streaks, but that's a tough one, man. I still think Tennessee should have won that game. I know it ended up not looking like that down the stretch.
I do not think they should have, because we talked about the lack of space in OU's rushing attack.
Yeah.
Space on space on space. Now, Etienne and Johnson's a hell of a back too. Both of those guys, some of those one-on-one situations made guys miss, ripped off big runs. And the tackling for Tennessee was not good. It was not good. You give the Florida guys credit. You also have to say, hey, Vols, you got to tackle better, especially in their secondary. But that Florida offensive line was doing work, man. I don't think there was anything really fluky about this. I think Florida kind of beat them up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. I mean, there is kind of a trend, though, whenever you look across a lot of the games, and it's typical early in the season, but we're not that early in the season. A bunch of like unforced errors and mistakes, penalties, free runners, and teams uncharacteristic of what good football teams typically do. And I can't tell nationally if anybody is any good.
I got no idea, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if anybody's any good. Like, even Oklahoma, I go from thinking this looks like a conference championship football team to we're going to lose to Cincinnati next week. Who knows who's good and who's not.
I've got no clue. But in that game, Tennessee, they were the ones that made the major mistakes.
Yep.
Right? You had the Milton interception, which, by the way, people are just making it sound like he just threw it that way. The guy got hit when he was throwing the ball. Can we just tone it down a little bit on the criticism for him? How many false starts did they have? So many. They had all the missed tackles. And then they had the worst play I've seen. Tennessee had the worst play I've seen all year long up to this point in college football. 4th and 1. Florida is on their own 33-yard line. 4th and 1, own 33. What happens? Mertz claps. He just claps. And the defensive tackle for Tennessee jumps off sides. First down. I thought
not
Josh
even going to
Heupel,
snap the ball, or were they?
No, they weren't going to snap the ball. They were in complete control of the game, and they were on their own 33. I thought Josh Heupel was going to pass away in that moment. Out of all this, it's the stupidest play I've seen all year long up to this point. But I really didn't think Joe Milton was that bad. Was he Hendon Hooker level good? No, but I thought he was all right. I thought he's fine. Run game just really didn't get going for the Vols. Right. And on the other hand, Florida's run game was just fantastic. And Mertz he had another nice game manager type of game, Ted.
Yeah. If you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, it's hard to go on the road and beat anyone of any substance. Right.
No doubt.
In that environment, that's how you could take the crowd out of it, take the momentum out of it. And if you miss tackles, turn the ball over, make mental errors in critical moments, you can't beat anyone that's any good.
I am going to bring up my old man complaint once again. My last thought on this game. Right? And I know it's different when you're in the stadium, but I was watching this on television. Please stop turning the lights out when the guys score. The celebration's like the part I want to see. It's like they're showing him, they got the up-close camera, and it's dark. Don't turn the lights off. I want to see him celebrate. I know that the big rage in college football is the light show when touchdowns are scored. I get it. But I don't like watching it on TV. It sucks.
I've got a fix. Like they've got the run on the field camera guy that does the celebration. They need a run on the field spotlight guy.
Yes. It's a
You know,
brilliant idea.
just spotlight the individual guy that scored the touchdown and the celebration with the teammates and whatever he's doing for the people on TV. Let everyone in attendance enjoy the light show and all of that stuff. Easy fix. You got to complain to the right people, though.
Yeah. Who do we know at ESPN that can make this happen?
I don't know anyone at ESPN.
Holly Rowe. I'm texting her. Hey, fix this. Fix this. I want to see him celebrate. I don't want it to be dark when the guys are celebrating after scoring awesome touchdowns. Thank you for coming.
All it looks like is they lost power in the stadium at a weird moment.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like on TV.
Yeah, and I can't see him celebrate. That's like the best part. But once again, I know it's a very old man take. I'm getting up there, though. So here we are.
Not bad.
All right. For my loser of the weekend, thought about going with Cincinnati. One job. One job. Beat Miami of Ohio to set up an exciting football game next weekend. Fox Big Noon kickoff, your first Big 12 game. You're hosting Oklahoma, who has carried the banner for this conference for forever. One job. Also, don't make Teddy and I look like idiots because we've been telling people how good they look. Not helpful, Cincinnati.
And I think it's a horrible scenario. Obviously, like nationally, you wanted it to be a big matchup, but no matter what you say, it's harder to like. If a team loses to someone bad, it affects like how someone prepares for them. It's human nature, right?
Correct.
It's like, oh, they lost to Miami of Ohio. They can't be that good. And the guard just comes down a little bit. Not a good scenario.
Don't like it. One job, Cincinnati. That defense, they got gashed, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't watched the tape yet,
yeah.
But I'm interested to see because the defense that you and I had watched for them up to that point, what happened? I don't know yet, but we'll let people know when we preview the game.
Yeah. The gashes they had against Pittsburgh, which there was a couple of them, were typically as the quarterback was getting hit by five guys, he was like throwing the ball like that, and someone would happen to catch it. I wonder if the same thing happened against Miami.
I don't know. We'll let you guys know on our preview episode. All right, but my loser of the weekend, Oklahoma State. Yikes. I mean, game was never close.
No.
Never close. Got dominated by South Alabama on their own field, 33-7, and absolutely nothing fluky about it. South Alabama, it was a more physical team. It was the better team at the line of scrimmage. It had better skill players. I mean, Ted, I don't know. I'm not a historian on Oklahoma State football. This is the worst loss. Like, this has to be the lowest point that fan base has felt in a very long time. Like, getting smacked by K-State last year, that's one thing, okay?
Right.
K-State ended up winning a conference title. South Alabama comes to your house and does this. Whoa.
Again, a weird week in college football. I don't know if anyone's any good. Cincinnati loses to Miami. Iowa State loses to, I can't even remember off the top of my head.
Ohio.
Oklahoma State loses to South Alabama. I mean, it just was not a good week for the Big 12. Like, Kansas State loses to Missouri. At least that's a Power 5 football program. I mean, that's tough. And you're right. Not a fluke. Like, what was that game? Was it Central Michigan?
Yeah, the Hail Mary game.
Yeah, like a bunch of weird things happened in that game. And not that that makes it okay, but nothing weird happened in this game. You got run over.
Yeah, South Alabama had the most impactful quarterback in Carter Bradley, most impactful running back in LaDamian Webb, most impactful wide receiver in Colin Lacey, who, by the way, it better be a family name. That guy spells Colin, Caullin. What are we doing?
Cau.
L-L-I-N, Colin. Just brutal. Now, you run by guys like he did, I guess you can spell it however you want, but just a brutal spelling. A brutal spelling.
That's funny.
But I've said this for years now, and I think Oklahoma State fans, they've agreed with me on it, but, you know, I'm an OU guy, so they say you're just being extra critical of Oklahoma State. Their offensive line stinks. They stink. I mean, it's gross. It's been years now. They can't get anything going consistently in their running game. It's bad. QBs were getting hit. I mean, had some impactful plays in this game called back for holding on the O-line. And now, I will say, Oklahoma State's quarterbacks could use a lesson in what we call stepping up into the pocket as opposed to floating just aimlessly to the edges and into the arms of defenders.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the offensive line play for them. It's poor. I mean, it's poor.
Well, and this is a topic for another day, perhaps, but it feels as if there is an epidemic of poor offensive line play across the country. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the style of offenses. I don't know what's going on, but there's some really bad offensive line play out there.
Yeah.
On Power 5 teams. And I get it. Not everyone's going to be loaded with a bunch of 5-star talent, but
can I share one thought on it?
Sure.
I think RPOs and how some college teams utilize those, I think it's quite possibly the most detrimental thing to high-level offensive line play that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are being coached to be super measured off the ball, right? Don't get too far downfield, because if the quarterback gets this certain look, then he's going to throw it in behind the linebacker, and that changes how you coach the techniques. And I think it's all shit.
I agree.
Come off the rock and hit someone, man. Play with velocity and violence, and if you swing and miss, it's all right. Let's go. Next snap. That guy across from you is going to know it's coming. I am pouring it downhill at you all day long.
Yeah.
Let's go. And we've got all this slow step, waddling shit. Some of it is awful to watch. It's awful. I hate it.
Yeah.
And I think it's all RPO related. And I think that's why you see so many teams struggle to like truly run the ball at a high level, because it's everything. Like some teams, like they may not even call it just a true run play throughout a game. It's like, hey, there's a bubble, there's a slant, there's a quick out built on everything. And I get you want to have options, but let your guys come off the rock some, man. It's just, as you can tell, I get frustrated with
Hey, I'm with you. I don't know. Like networks, people are like, they're convinced that that's what people want to see. And I don't know, man. I flat out disagree.
The way to improve, I believe this wholeheartedly.
Play the same rules as the NFL.
Correct. The number one way you can improve offensive line play in college football is to apply the same illegal man downfield rules as the National Football League.
Yeah.
Because then all the RPO shit goes away.
Yeah.
Can't do it. You can't have your tackle waddling up to a linebacker, sneaking up on him 4 yards down the field with the quarterback saying, "Oh, I'm going to throw the slant in behind."
Yep.
Take it out and we'll get better offensive line play. I hate it with every fiber of my being. That being said, Oklahoma State's offensive line still stinks.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Gunnar Gundy looks the best to me, and maybe it's because of what he can do with his legs. But I don't know. I think they should just roll with him, personally. but that is a brutal loss for Mike Gundy. I mean, all of people will put up with all the stuff if you're winning games, right? But if you're getting housed by South Alabama on your own field, all that stuff he does, it gets real old real quick.
And you could see that in the post-game press conference. Some pushback going on. And like that's a locker room dividing, a locker room losing type of loss. I mean, they better get things right quickly or it could turn into a real nightmare.
One last thing on that game. Proud parenting moment. So my wife went to that game with two of her best friends who are both Oklahoma State grads. First of all, don't even think about it. Like no one in my family wore orange. Hell no. Made that very clear. It was white and black, okay? Should have worn crimson, damn it.
Yeah.
But my 2-year-old went to the game. Of course, did not wear any orange, just some generic football gear, right? Like kind of like football pajamas almost. And I guess he was just screaming boomer the entire time, which is yeah.
You guys should have thrown him in an OU 30 jersey, Trace Ford jersey.
Oh man,
that would have gone over well.
That would have been really good. That would have been good. But proud parenting moment. Just my son at an Oklahoma State game because my wife's friends, they both have daughters my son's age. So he's hanging out with his two best friends and just like, hey, boomer, let's go. Yeah,
he's going to be the boomer guy growing up that yells it in a crowded group of people.
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly going to be that guy. On that note, episode 354 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. We'll preview OU Cincinnati. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 3 to 6 on the ref. You can hear me from 2 to 5 on SiriusXM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great start to your week. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.